Hello, Paul Hamilton here. Really excited about this lesson with Book Creator because it really does emphasize what mobile learning is all about. So the first thing I've actually done is I've gone out into my backyard and I've taken some photos. I've gone on a bit of a gallery walk looking for two-dimensional shapes. You can see some rectangles there in the bricks. We've got some different shapes there. We've got some squares in the garden and the veggie garden. We'll probably look at this one today, these rectangles today, but get your kids out and about, get them looking for different shapes in the school. Make sure you emphasize too that they're looking for different shapes, not the same repetitive rectangles over and over again. I think that's probably the main tip before they do it. And I would spend a whole lesson doing that. Send them out in pairs, send them out individually. Take lots of photos of different shapes in the school. Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to jump into Book Creator, and this is going to be our platform for presenting it all. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new book by pressing the plus down the bottom. And the one that I'm going to choose today is the portrait. I'll tell you about that in a minute. On the first bit, on my first cover here, I'm just going to press the plus and I'm just going to put some text. And I might put something like a title for it and just put, say, 2D investigation. Because we're doing a photo walk. And what we can do there, we've got the edit box around, so I can press the I can make that a little bit bigger, and I always drag that in, so we've got about the right size. And if I press the I again, I can do things like center it, change the font, make it bold, do different things. And I could bring a picture in there as well. I might make that a little bit smaller because it doesn't really fit. And so that I'm working, that looks a little bit better, and I can center it. By the way, when you're in Book Creator, don't ignore those green lines and the centering and that. It's really good for kids to be strive for accuracy in their work. So I've got a little front page there, a cover, and now I'm going to go on to my second page. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background, the actual paper. Now with Book Creator, if you don't have this, you need to actually update your Book Creator because now we've got left page, right page, and when I touch that, it says different types of paper. You can see here I've got the different types of paper here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select the grid for both of them, for my left and right. And I'll tell you why I do that in a minute. Automatically now we have our book that we can really do some wonderful maths things with. But today we're looking at different shapes and shape investigation. So I'm going to put a little subheading at the top here by pressing plus, add text, and let's look at rectangles. So this is where we get the kids. That's about a good size there. I can center that. And I can play around with fonts and different things if I need to. Bring that down so it's sitting on the line there. That looks really, really good. And what we're going to do is bring in our picture. So our photo there, hopefully we can get into our photos. Let's bring in the one with the, and make that a little bit smaller and bring that in. So what we've got there is a picture of rectangles, make it a little bit smaller, center it a little bit. And encourage your kids when they're taking their photos, I forgot to mention, to make it a very flat photo, so not on an angle, because what we're going to do here is we're going to layer some different shapes over the top of it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to select our plus, and you can see at the top right-hand corner, we now have our shapes function or options. So what I'm going to do is select the rectangle, and I'm just going to resize until it fits about the size of one of my rectangles. Now I'm going to show you how to change that if we need to. So I've got that highlighted. I can press the I now and I can select a different color if I need to. Go back, I could put a border around it if I wanted to, maybe make it a black border, just a skinny border. And if I wanted to actually see the actual brick, so I could actually, now I've got a border, I could actually say none, and I could actually have that rectangle so I can actually see the length of the bricks there. But I'm going to put a little color on it just so that I can see it there. And so what we've done now is we've identified a rectangle not only in shapes, but we've layered another one on top of it so that we can start to do a little bit of work with it. So I might bring in one more just so that I can show you what we're going to do. So I'll press another one. This time I'm going to do a green. And this time I'm just going to do a different one here. Oops. I'll just move it over an area. Let's move it over that one there. And I'll make it there. So what I'm trying to do is get the right size. So I've got two there. I might press the I I might put a border on that one as well. Let me put the same black just so that we can see. The other thing I wanted to show you is when I press a shape like this and I press the eye, down here we can do the layering. So if I wanted to put that behind the photo, I'd press here. If I wanted to put it on top, I could put there. So now we've got a little investigation where we've actually identified the shapes. We've identified the shapes and we've actually got a real life, we've actually got the picture as well, which is kind of real life. And we can do that with all of the different shapes that we're seeing. We can do some other things with it though if we really wanted to extend. I think you can see there too, we've also got, some evidence of tessellations as well. So we could actually do some work by pressing our finger down, copying, pressing our finger down again, and pasting. And we can do some layering and we can do some tessellation work and look at patterns and so forth there as well, which is really, really interesting. When kids are exploring, I've said it before, they really come across curriculum areas that are well beyond the intended curriculum, which is fantastic. Now, okay, so we've identified 2D shapes. Fantastic. What can we do now? What can we do the different things? Well, we could start to look at area. So you could actually get your kids to actually measure with a ruler or a tape measure. You could actually measure the squares at back there. Or you could do a little bit of work with area and perimeter just by using our grid points. So now we could actually use something like a pen tool. And I could actually say that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Press done. So that's, say, 4 blocks there, and then I could do some measurements here. I could actually bring in some things that are pointing to different things and identify different lengths and widths. And so I could really explore a whole range of different things. We could do some calculations down the side. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the length down there. So let me just add another pen here and say, okay, that's 8 down the side. We can make this a real maths journal and start to do some calculations with our pencil and paper. So we could say 4 times 8 is 32, and we could do some measuring. And so you can see there that we're going well beyond actually identifying the 2D shapes. Or if you just wanted to do some identification of 2D shapes, that's fine as well. And we can do things like go to a next page. Let's do the same again, change it. This time I'm going to make my grid points a little bit. You can change that, so you might use that for this one. This time I'm going to bring in my picture on the right-hand side, and I might bring the picture in of the circle, for example, make that smaller. Bear with me here. I might put it on this side this time. And you can once again bring in the shapes, identify, let's go with a circle this time. You could bring it over, match it up, same sort of thing, same size. And for older kids, you could start to look at circumference and area of a circle and different things there. You can imagine a whole book full of these fantastic maths investigations and 2D investigations. So that was a really, I think, worthwhile tutorial, getting your kids out and about, mobile, getting off their bottoms, taking photos, investigating the mathematical world around us, and then doing some extra work in Book Creator to really look at these shapes and their different properties and their different dimensions and so forth. So hopefully you found that really beneficial. Paul Hamilton here, signing off.